La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Hello and welcome. It's always a pleasure having you for company here on Journey to Islam, where we get to hear stories from around the world of people who at a point in their lives converted to Islam Ahmadiyyat. And today we are fortunate to have with us one such person, Mr. Jafar from Dakon, who some 40 years ago converted to Islam Ahmadiyyat, and we'll be finding out from him what the journey was like for him. And speaking to a few people who know him at close range, they say he's one person who represents the unity of Islam, and we are privileged to have him here with us for a conversation. Mr. Frimpong Dakon Jafar, thank you very much for accepting our invitation and for agreeing to speak to us.
Thank you, Mr. Mumi.
Yes, that's right. Okay, I've been speaking to a few people about you, and they say when it comes to religion, you represent what Ghana stands for, which is unity. We all live in peace regardless of what faith we have. And you have tasted almost all the major religions and religious sects in Ghana. What can you tell us about your experience from each place you have moved to until where you currently are now?
Alhamdulillah, I started my education to say from Koforidua, where by then I was practicing Christian. But what I see about Islam and Ghana as a whole is that we live in peace. We don't have any differences in religion, somebody being a Muslim, somebody being Christian, so that we fight each other. We don't have that thing. Because as I'm speaking now, my parents are Christians, but I am a Muslim. And we live together, we share ideas together, and that's what we see in Ghana here.
I'm quite curious. I'd like to know about your childhood, because even as an adult today, you're talking about your parents having a different belief from what you have today. Can you tell me, growing up, what kind of relationship did you have with your parents and your other siblings in terms of what they believed in and what you chose to believe in?
Well, as I've already said, as in Ghana here, we don't fight over religion. Everybody and how he chooses his religion based on understanding. And through this understanding, we have divided into so many sects, but yet we don't fight. We come together, we meet in family programs and all this. We sit down and solve it amicably. There's no fight anywhere. Okay, my parents were Christians. Some of my family members are also Christians. I could say I was the only man from my family who came and joined Islam in my early youth age. I was then at about 20 years old when so some men came from Nkoko, old men. They came and preached in our vicinity. And then I went and listened to them. By then I was then practicing Christian very well, seriously. And my church, by that time, was a church called Afro-Bethany. Afro-Bethany. I was very seriously with them before these people came and preached. They quoted everything from the Bible, showing what we're supposed to do. We asked them questions. They give us answers from the Bible. So that gave me some insight that I should go in and find out what is in there. And with these people, I did tell them the truth or what. The following day, they came the same day, we went there, and then we listened to them very much. And then that impressed me that I should join Islam. But then I was at school, so I couldn't join them until I came back to, when I finished my medical school certificate exam. That was August 1973. I came down to military academy, field engineers. Then it was there I saw a Muslim mosque. So I went to the Imam. He was then W.O. Jafar. And I consulted him and said, I wanted to be a Muslim. Then he initiated me into their fold. I was there, but still I was not feeling happy because the people who came and preached at my area at Kofodia, they are not these people. Because these people, they don't preach, I don't hear anything. So
How do you mean? You don't hear anything?
I don't hear any inspiration message from them. Only we go to the mosque, we pray, and then we depart, we go to our house. So one
Even on Fridays, they don't give sermons?
they read khutbah, they made a khutbah all in Arabic. So when they read like that, I don't get any impact. So I was there thinking where I can get these people. Because I was then a young boy, I don't know Accra much. So fortunately for me, somebody came from Kumasi. A young boy like my type came from Kumasi. Then during our conversation, he mentioned Ahmadiyya. And I asked them, Ahmadiyya, those who preach with Bible and Quran, and say, yes. Do you know where they are? They say, oh, I know where they are. They are at Osu. So we decided to go and see them. So one Saturday morning, we walked from Teshin Barracks, if you know there, to Osu Mission. That was my first day of coming to Osu Mission. Then I got to know where Ahmadiyyas are. So it came to a point that every Friday I have to run from the barracks and come to Juma. Every Friday I run to. So it was there I got to know that yes, these people are different. These are the people who came and preach in my area.
What was the difference?
As I've already said, they only read the Quran, but they don't explain it. It's in Arabic. When you read it, then you go away.
You're referring to the first group?
The first group which I joined them. Okay, but when I came to Ahmadiyya, they explained everything in vernacular. So I could hear something, even when I go home and my parents are talking against my religion, I can also quote them from the Bible, and then we start dragging.
So when you went from the first group to the Ahmadiyya group, was it the same Quran? Was it the same message?
It was the same Quran. I mean, I learned Quran from them. I learned how to read Quran from them. It was the same Quran, but there's no English translation whatsoever. It was the Ahmadiyya where I found that the Quran has an English attached to it.
But the Arabic text, and this is important. I just want to know because what we have heard sometimes allegations that they appear to have a Quran that differs from the other groups. Is that what you found?
No, I didn't find anything like that. It's the same Quran Arabic, the same Quran everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. So I learned from them. I learned the Quran reading from them before even coming to Ahmadiyya. But what happens to me is that when the Imam got to know that I have joined the Ahmadiyya, he became annoyed. Then he called me one day and asked me, why should I join the Ahmadiyya? Ahmadis are not Muslims. And then they say somebody's called Ghulam Ahmed, alayhi salam. He's only a learned man. He's not a prophet, but they say he's a prophet. So I shouldn't go there. I shouldn't follow them. They are not Muslims. But I wonder, why are they not Muslims? They are reading Quran, you are reading Quran. They pray 5 times, you pray 5 times a day. They make fasting, you make fasting. So I was, somehow disturbed a little. But I say, once they speak my language and I do understand, I will never leave them. So I started joining them gradually until we left the barracks. And then I joined them wherever they go. Now I've known the Quran, I know how to read Arabic fine. So whenever we go to preaching, they choose me to read the Quran for them.
I'm interested in the story about Ghulam Ahmed that you mentioned about, because your first preachers in Islam, the people who really convinced you to join those you met initially, they told you he was only a learned man. Yeah. Then when you met the Ahmadiyya Muslim Mission people, what did they tell you about Ghulam Ahmed?
They told me he's the second coming of Christ, as the Bible has said, and the Quran also has prophesied, that in the later days, somebody will come in the person of Jesus Christ. And in the Muslims, they call it Mahdi. And in the Christians call it Messiah. And that person has come in the person of Ghulam Ahmed, alayhi salam. So they explained all this thing to me. Then I understood it. Because when even we were children, always they write, Jesus is coming soon. So we all believe that Jesus is coming. But how is he coming? Is he coming from the sky? As they said, he will come from the sky, everybody will see him. But this Ahmadi explained it to me in different form altogether, and I understood them. So I remain with them.
So as you sit here now, because you were told that Ghulam Ahmed is not a prophet, but just
A scholar.
What's your opinion of him right now?
My opinion about Ghulam Ahmed is that I've accepted him as a prophet from God, as he had been prophesied in the Bible and the Quran. I've accepted him. So he's not just an ordinary man. If he's an ordinary man, he cannot write 80 books about Islam, explaining Islam, making Islam beautiful for us to understand. Like he can't write these books. So my conviction is that Ghulam Ahmed is a prophet of God. Alayhi salam is a prophet of God.
How do you juxtapose that again? Because you have come from different backgrounds, a Christian background and a non-Ahmadi background. How do you juxtapose your new belief to what is held in other Islamic circles, that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last prophet? So when you hear a message like that, and then you're also telling us Ghulam Ahmed is a prophet, that appears to have some amount of contradiction.
There's no contradiction here, because they told me that Jesus Christ will come. All Christians believe that Jesus Christ will come. And Muslims also believe that somebody will come called Mahdi. He will come. Okay? And then this question the Ahmadis, and they explained it to me to extend that they convinced me to understand that Mahdi has come in the person of Ghulam Ahmed alayhi salam, and he's the same Jesus Christ who has come. Now the world has united. It wasn't like the former days. So when a prophet is coming, God is not going to send two prophets at a time. It's only one person who will come to represent all of them. So Mahdi has come as the Jesus Christ whom we all are waiting for. That's convinced me, and I accepted it, and I believe it.
So in this context, it's not a coming of a new prophet, but a coming of an old prophet, and that does not nullify the finality of the prophethood of Muhammad. Is that what you're saying?
We know from the Quran that somebody of that nature will come. When we read Surah to Juma, it was stated there.
Let's return to your own life. So when you announced, or your family got to know that you had become a Muslim, and then later on you had become an Ahmadi Muslim, what was their reaction? How did they receive the message from you?
Well, they don't know the difference between Ahmadi and other sects. They all know Muslim. For them, they say it's a Northness religion. That's what they know. They don't know difference between it. It is I who went into it, and I know that there was a difference between it.
So when that happened, were you invited to family meetings? Were you still accepted as a member of the family? Or did you feel at a point that, well, my family was neglecting me because of my new beliefs?
Yes. My new belief put me into a certain tight corner small, that my mother became annoyed. But then I wasn't in Ahmadiyya, I was with the Orthodox one. Then as a child, I also stopped. I stopped for a year. But I was still not feeling happy. Then one night in my dream, I was told. Then I saw so many people wearing this, those who come from Makkah, they put on the hand. Then they asked me, somebody told me that, have you seen all these people? They are all from Mecca. Then I got up. I said, what is happening? That day, to be frank, honest with you, I became perplexed the whole day. So I decided to go back to the Imam. So when I went to the Imam, he told me, as Islam, when you come and go and come, they don't accept you. I said, oh, this I won't go again. So I remain with them until now. Yeah. So my parents became annoyed, a little became annoyed. But because of the quotation I've been getting from the Bible and from the Ahmadis, I also challenged them gradually. It came to a time that when even we are going to fast, my mother prepared a stew for me that I should use it for my fasting. So it was there I know that I become...
Right, but now you're a grown man. Obviously, you would have children of your own. What's your relationship with them like? Are they towing the line that you have chosen to tow, or are they going their separate ways?
My parents or my children? My children, they are all Muslims. They are all Ahmadis. They are following my footsteps very well.
So your children are staunch Ahmadi Muslims.
Ahmadi.
But again, let's look at you as a person. Are you just an Ahmadi Muslim by name, or when you compare your life now to the life that you used to lead previously, you would say that it is something that has impacted on your religiosity to the extent that you are now a better person in terms of your relationship with your God?
Yes, I can say I'm now better than the former days when I was in Christianity also. Though when I was a practicing Christian, I learned much about God from their background. And then I like reading books, mystics books, written by Losta Rampa. So sometimes I even practice what Losta Rampa teaches in some techniques. And sometimes I even hide in the room for about a week, okay? Doing all manners of prayers, fasting for the whole week. I was doing all these things. So I was then religiously looking for God. Yeah.
So now that you found a God that you were so much looking for, I'm asking, has that impacted on your life? Has anything changed?
Got a lot of change.
Do we have anything to show?
Even if I don't have anything to show, immorality has gone out of me. Immorality has gone out of me. That rascal life that we are leading for me is no more there.
Oh, how is that? Because we get a feeling, I mean, if you're outside of Islam, there's that impression that Islam is rather what promotes violence and so on. And so you're telling us that becoming a Muslim has rather made you a calm person. How is that?
Islam doesn't teach any violence. Islam, there's nowhere in the Quran or we see anything in Hadith telling that Islam is a violent religion. People are doing this maybe on their political line or whatever. It's not Islam who is teaching violence. The word Islam means peace, and if it is peace, where is the violence again? So Islam doesn't teach violence. If somebody is practicing something and doing anything to disgrace the name of Islam, it's not what Muhammad brought to the world. It is they are doing it. They have found different line altogether and doing it and then mention Islam name into it. It's not Islam who is teaching them. There's no book about Islam that you read to tell you that you should go and throw bombs, you should go and kill your fellow. It's nowhere. There's no book. So I don't know where these people get the idea from.
I know you have already told me about the fact that when you belong to another sect of Islam initially, the difference you found was that they were preaching only in Arabic and you couldn't understand that sermons were in Arabic and so on. And the Ahmadi Muslims that you joined later on were preaching to you in the language that you understood. Yeah. Beyond that, when you compare what you have now and what you used to have, what are some of the differences you notice?
Differences? The way we Ahmadis pray, how we respect our leaders, you can't find it in these people. When somebody gets his small money, he opens his mouth and he becomes Imam. And even when he dies, unless a family or a child of that person should be an Imam. If there's someone who even know more, better than him, they won't allow. We've been hearing all this in Ghana. Sometimes even they'll close the mosque because of imamship. We don't see this in Ahmadiyya. Ahmadi, they can put even a small boy, and he will lead you in salat. But the other side, they will not allow you.
When you talk about a small boy, who knows, who has knowledge of the Quran,
yes,
and so on. Okay.
Yes, they will allow you to lead you in salat. Or he'll be an office bearer. He's a small boy. Yet all the elderly people go there and respect him. But here you can't do that. You can't see that in there. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, so you are clearly an Ahmadi Muslim now. What can you tell us about the social interactions you've been having? We know that the Ahmadi Muslims do have a lot of conferences, they go for a lot of meetings and so on. How has that improved on your social life as well?
My social life has completely changed, as I've already said, in terms of my interaction with even Christians and other Muslims. Things have changed completely. We live together in peace. I go to conferences. I meet all different people from walks of life. We all come together. We share our views together. And then sometimes even I learn from the elderly men who joined the Islam before me. I follow them. When they are talking, I'll be there and listen to what they are saying. So, in fact, Ahmadiyya has made me a different man altogether.
You started as a non-Muslim, then a non-Ahmadi, then an Ahmadi Muslim.
Yeah.
And you are even an Imam now. How did you do that? From nowhere all the way straight to the top as an Imam. And again, you recite the Quran in Arabic, and you speak some amount of Arabic as well.
I was Imam, but now I'm not Imam. When I was at teaching, they appointed me to be their Imam. That was 76 up to 2000. Before I became an Imam, when we go to preaching, I've been reading the Quran, and whenever we go to competitions, teaching, they select me to go and lead them. So in all the circles, when anything can, they say, Jafar, you go. Jafar, you go. So even there's one man who was driving a mail. He's now at London. They call him Ibrahim. I forgot the actual name is. So Ibrahim, first Amir driver, Amir Wahab Adam's driver. He's now at London. They call him Ibrahim. Even he named him 1,000. Everything they will call me. Everything. So during that time, this preacher, Issa Iku, he was the first man I saw him preaching with coffee in Greater Accra here. Issa Iku. He's no more. He has died. And then he and his people appointed me as an Imam. But then they'll have an Imam called Muhammad Ando. But comparing my knowledge of Arabic, and then they brought him back and then put me further as
that's what I'm interested in. So you came from nowhere and then all the way straight to the top. You can speak Arabic, read the Quran with envious fluency.
Yes, I started learning. I learned much. I did Arabic by radio with the Egyptians. Then from there I went to Workers' College here and do Arabic for 2 years. So that led me to that position. I was learning. I was seriously learning.
What's your favorite verse in the Quran?
Oh, the Quran is favorite.
You must have one that really speaks to you. I mean, as someone who had come from a non-Muslim background, I mean, there's something in the Quran that may have touched you and made you sit back and reflect.
If that be the case, then I will say, God says, "Lillahi ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard." Whatever is in the heaven and earth belongs to God. And He's the mighty, the wise. So when you sit down and ponder over it, how does God created all this world and so many things, and then He brought us here to come and worship Him. I think when you sit down and ponder over all this, and you see that it's a very great verse. Yes. And then one verse I like much. God says, "Lillahi ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard. Tubudu ma fi anfusikum aw tukhfu yusibukum bihi la." فَيَغْفِرُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيُعَذِّبُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. This was another verse I like reading in my prayers.
All right. As we wrap up our conversation, I'm just again interested in the journey that you started from a non-Muslim background to a Muslim background, and then further to become an Ahmadi Muslim as we speak now. Do you have any intentions of leaving?
Ahmadiyya.
Yeah.
And go where?
I don't know. Have you ever thought about it?
I haven't thought about it. I will die with it, inshallah.
Why?
That's the only religion I've chosen to practice, so I don't want to go into anywhere again.
No, but you've been with others.
I've been with other things, but when I came here, I've been with so many sets. But when I came here, they are teaching compared to what I was then learning. This one has advanced and polished it better than this.
If you were to have a one-on-one meeting with the supreme head of the worldwide Ahmadiyya Muslim mission, what kind of requests would you make of him?
Request? I request him to pray for me, to strengthen my faith in Allah, and pray for me that I may die as a Muslim Ahmadi.
Well, do you have any advice for people who may want to join Islam Ahmadiyyat, but have doubts in their minds right now? What kind of advice would you give them?
My advice only goes to my fellow Christians who are still waiting for Christ to come from the sky. That Christ has come in the person of Ghulam Ahmed. If they want to learn more about Christ, if only they love Christ and they want to see Christ, then they should contact Ahmadi centers and then get more information from them. It is there, and then they'll be assured that that Jesus Christ they are waiting for has come.
There are Muslims who are also waiting.
There are Muslims also who are also watching us. I'll pray to them that the Mahdi they are waiting for has come. As they are saying that the Mahdi will come with Tokobi, and then if you don't believe in him, he will cut your head. That is not true. It is not true. Even if it is true, how can one person stand up in the whole world and kill all people who don't believe in Islam? How can one person go up and break all the crosses that we see in our church houses? So it's never true. Mahdi has come in the person of Ghulam Ahmed. They should accept him. And one advice also I'll give to my fellow Ahmadis, that they should try and read the 10 Conditions of Bayat. It's a very powerful book that when you continue reading it, it will change you entirely.
So, thank you very much. All right, then this is where we bring our conversation to a close. We've been speaking to Mr. Jafar from Pondakun, who has been telling us about his journey to Islam, and he's been telling us how in Ghana all religious sects live in unity as one, and there is no problem at all, but he's very satisfied that today he is an Ahmadi Muslim and he has no intention of ever leaving. He wants to die as an Ahmadi Muslim, and inshallah we'll see you again some other time. Please stay with us, don't go away, as we bring you some more of our programs. Stay with us.
La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.